Happy Tuesday. Thanks for starting your afternoon with us here on THV 11 News at Noon. I'm Michael Aaron alongside meteorologist Corrales Ortiz over in the Weather Center. Corrales, a really cold start to the morning, but it should warm up pretty nicely today, right?
Yeah, it'll be about 10 degrees warmer at least compared to yesterday, but it'll be actually pretty close to average temperatures where we should be at this time of year. So right now it's still pretty chilly out there this afternoon. We're sitting in the 40s in a few spots. In the 30s to our north and east. They'll be a lot cooler there, but note with the wind chill, we are going to be a little bit breezy today. It's going to make it feel a lot cooler. Looking at our highs, mostly around central Arkansas, low 50s, a little bit closer to mid 50s to our south, and there'll be some places stuck in the 40s to our northeast. We are dealing with plenty of sunshine like we're seeing now, but like I mentioned, those winds out of the south, that's helping usher in some of that warmer air. It's also a bit breezy at the same time. To our north and west, they can see gusts as high as 30 to 40 miles per hour. Here we could see gusts as high as 20 miles per hour. So it could make it feel at least 10 degrees cooler, but it will be a lot lighter as we go into tonight. So we do have some rain chances, and not only rain, some precipitation chances in general, as we have the potential for some wintry weather by our Thursday morning. So I'll talk more about those chances, if we can see any accumulation, and what areas across the state have the best chance for that coming up.
All right, Corrales, the freezing temperatures have prompted the city of Little Rock to open its daytime warming centers this week. Through Friday, people can stop by and get out of the cold at one of these 5 locations on your screen. They're open from 8 in the morning until 5 each evening. The CDC estimates the Omicron variant is now 95% of circulating COVID-19 cases. Health officials reported more than 1 million new cases yesterday. President Biden plans to update the American people on his administration's response to the pandemic later this afternoon. Wendy Gillette has more on that, plus why people don't have to wait as long to get their Pfizer vaccine booster shots.
Hospital beds are filling up at Cook Children's Medical Center in Fort Worth, Texas. One of those patients is 8-month-old Olivia McKinney.
It's scary, and you never really think that it would be your child. But my daughter can sit here and she's coughing 30, 45 minutes at a time.
Nationwide, an average of 378 children were admitted to the hospital every day from December 22nd to December 28th, a 66% increase from the week before. With cases surging, the Los Angeles School District is requiring all students and staff to show proof of a negative test before returning to class next week.
So many people we know have gotten it recently.
There's confusion over which test is the most accurate. One epidemiologist tells CBS News rapid antigen tests are what's needed to stop the spread.
PCR as a technology is too sensitive.
Dr. Michael Minna is the chief science officer at eMed, a biotech software service company that enables authentication of at-home tests for public health reporting.
The appropriate tool in this pandemic to answer the question, do I need to isolate? Am I infectious and a risk to my neighbors? Is using a rapid antigen test, because it only stays positive as long as you are infectious.
And the CDC is now giving the green light to Pfizer booster shots 5 months after the second dose instead of 6 months. The move comes a day after the FDA authorized the change. Wendy Gillette, CBS News, New York.
The CDC now recommends booster shots for certain immunocompromised kids ages 5 to 11, but the agency still has to decide whether to authorize boosters for all children ages 12 to 15. We continue to see the case numbers surge in Arkansas. More than 1,700 new cases were reported on Monday. It's hard to compare that with last Monday, coming right after Christmas, but it's in line with the jump we started to see about 2 weeks ago. That's causing our active case count to increase. Right now, more than 27,000 Arkansans are dealing with COVID-19, but it's our hospitalizations Governor Asa Hutchinson and health officials are watching closely. There are 722 people hospitalized statewide. For comparison, we're about halfway to the peak number of seriously ill that we saw last summer. The governor will address the latest surge in cases and hospitalizations during his weekly COVID update. That is set for 1:30 this afternoon. We'll be there. You can watch it live on thv-at-noon.com or our mobile app. New at noon, help has arrived as healthcare systems deal with a huge wave of people coming to get tested for the virus. 12 National Guard troops arrived at UAMS this morning. They'll help in the drive-through screening area there. UAMS's chancellor tells us the wait was about 1 hour for a test this morning, and at times it can get up to 2 or 3 hours.
Having the guardsmen here has allowed us to add 2 extra hours to the day. It's going to allow us to test more people and also to keep the line moving so people aren't intimidated about having to wait so long.
That drive-through screening now open from 7:30 to 5:30 daily at UAMS. Another big concern there, more than 800 employees are on work restriction right now because they have COVID or concerns about it. Inside the hospital, officials expect to hit a record high number of COVID patients during this surge. CHI St. Vincent reports that its number of COVID patients has doubled in the past week. Baptist Health is also seeing a rise in COVID hospitalizations and a record number of people there to get tested. Now hospitals are looking at the data to see how long this surge could last. While there's no way to be 100% certain, some models are showing this wave peaking before the end of the month. UAMS plans to release its latest model later this week. Meanwhile, a group of local doctors is urging school districts in the state to require masks once again. Members of the Arkansas chapter of the American Academy of Pediatrics are doubling down on their recommendation. They want schools and child care facilities to implement school-wide mask policies for students and staff, including those who are vaccinated. More than 100 public school districts required masks during the last school year, but many relaxed those restrictions in the fall. There's a lot of information out there, information that changes very quickly. So to find the very latest on COVID-19 in Arkansas, vaccine information, and the state's response to the Omicron variant, just text the word FACTS to 501-376-1111. Switching gears now, we're working to learn more about Little Rock's first homicide of 2022. Police tell us one person was killed and another hurt after a shooting last night on South Ringo near 29th Street. Police have not released the name of the victims or a suspect. Again, we're working to learn more information. We'll have the latest for you tonight at 5 and 6. Thursday marks 1 year since the assault on the U.S. Capitol, and we're getting new insight into the enormous task of bringing January 6th rioters to justice. With more than 725 defendants, it's the largest federal criminal investigation in U.S. history. Catherine Herridge spoke to the top prosecutor who launched the case.
It was important for us to move quickly to charge a good number of cases to instill in the public that the rule of law worked.
Michael Sherwin, then the Justice Department's top prosecutor in the District of Columbia, launched the Capitol riots investigation.
Within 10 weeks, we're talking about, I think, close to 1,000 search warrants, 1,500 grand jury subpoenas, 350 to 400 arrest warrants, so just a number unseen before in any probably federal district in history.
You said that no one was off limits, everything was on the table.
It didn't matter if you were a speaker that day, or if you were a congressman, if you were in the executive office, the president, or if you were just one of the vendors selling popcorn that day. If your conduct fit the crime, we had the evidence, you were charged.
Since that day, more than 725 defendants have been arrested. The vast majority charged with entering or remaining in a restricted federal building or grounds. About 40 defendants, including Oath Keepers, 3%ers, and Proud Boys, face more serious conspiracy charges. At least 5 had pleaded guilty. Sherwin told CBS News the trend lines emerged early.
This is our nation, not theirs. The great bulk of those individuals were these one-offs. They made terrible decisions. This wasn't something that was pre-baked and planned. And then you have a sliver of cases, we'll call them militia-type cases, where there appeared to be a more collective planning.
The votes for President of the United States are as follows.
Later that day, as then Vice President Mike Pence certified the Electoral College, prosecutors mapped a legal strategy.
We initially had a command post set up that evening at the Capitol Police headquarters, where we had to set up an architecture to handle these cases because there was no roadmap.
From an FBI mobile command center, thousands of hours of social media and security camera footage collected, often reviewed minute by minute.
We set up crews to look at body-worn camera footage and videos to try to identify who those people were, identify, fix, find them, and then get arrest warrants on them.
Prosecutors say 140 police officers were assaulted that day. To date, 75 defendants have been charged.
Should the Capitol building have been locked down as a crime scene?
That would have essentially stopped the certification. So I think leadership wanted to ensure that, look, let's collect as much evidence as we can, but we have to show the public that this process hasn't been deterred.
Approximately 165 individuals have pleaded guilty, among them the so-called QAnon shaman, Adam Johnson and Robert Scott Palmer, who pleaded guilty to assaulting officers with a dangerous weapon and was sentenced to more than 5 years in prison, the toughest sentence yet. The FBI is still asking for the public's help to identify the pipe bomber who left viable devices at the Republican and Democratic Party headquarters.
So if those devices went off, you go from a terrible situation to a terrible situation on steroids.
And another 350 believed to have committed violent acts on Capitol grounds.
So are we years out from seeing the end of these cases?
It would not surprise me if there's cases charged in 2022 or 2023.
While the Justice Department has brought a range of charges, including conspiracy and obstruction, it has stopped short of sedition among the most serious crimes. Tomorrow, Attorney General Garland will provide an update on the department's efforts to get accountability for January 6th. Catherine here at CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Not far from there, hundreds of drivers traveling through Virginia are free after a round of severe weather left them trapped overnight. More on their experience after the break. Corrales, nothing like that here. Thank goodness.
Well, I know they have quite a bit of some of that snowfall over there towards the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. And in terms of any wintry weather coming our way, there are some hints of that in our forecast. Otherwise, we have a beautiful day in store for us today. I'll let you know what we can expect, though, with those chances coming up.